My name is Sabrina Raza Khan. This is my story for Colourful Heritage. I came to Glasgow with my mum. My mum was called Sabrina Raza Khan. It was in April 1968 with my mum. I didn't know where I was going because I've lived in Pakistan since I was born, and my family used to say that, oh, your dad's in England. That's the word they used to say, and I didn't have a clue. I didn't know what a dad was. I was 6 years old, and it was in Jailham somewhere. It just worked out, a long story short, that finally me and my mum came. It was Pollock Shields and Maxwell Drive in the basement. That's where we stayed for a year. It was a tenement basement. I think my dad had rented it out. I think he came in 61, before I was born, and he travelled around London, Birmingham, Sheffield, then he came to Glasgow. My dad was a traveller. He liked to see places. He used to work as a bus conductor. I thought he owned the bus. I used to go up and down the old-fashioned buses as if it was like I'm the lady of the bus. I used to enjoy myself. We moved in 1969, and that was to the Gorbals in Blatter Street, next to the Glasgow Green, because I remember going to the Glasgow Green Fair. I used to just go by myself. That's the best thing I used to remember. I think the whole school. I was the only Asian there. It was okay. It was called Hayfield Primary. It was just basically around the corner. I was basically 2 or 3 Scottish friends, and that's how I used to hang about and play with, and that was it. And the kid that used to live in the same estate as myself. We used to stay in a 1-bedroom flat. It wasn't anything glamorous or fancy. We were quite lucky. We were the one who had a toilet in our flat. The rest of the toilets were outside. We lived below a shop and a chippy, and that's all I remember, is buying chips sometimes. My mum didn't have hot water. She didn't have a washing machine. She used to wash her own clothes by hand. There weren't many shops as well. We were quite lucky to have a telephone. It was one of those old-fashioned dial ones you had to dial. It was difficult because it was like I had two brothers and a sister, and it wasn't enough space, because what happened was my dad, he'd left being a bus conductor and he wanted to set up his own business. He wanted to make leather watch straps and leather belts, but it was a new thing for him. It was a new business, and he spent a lot of time, and so one room was dedicated to that as well. So basically we were in the kitchen. My dad had made bunk beds, so that's how we sort of survived. It was hard for my mother because she didn't understand or speak English. That was difficult. I had to sort of help her in a way, be her guide and read for her and just help her out in every way possible. There were kids at my age, and our windows were next to each other, and we used to look out the window, and they thought that they were scared of me, and I'm thinking, why are you scared of me? She goes, oh, you're brown, you're going to be dead strong. And I'm thinking, why are you thinking like that? And I was about 7 or 8 then. So that's their image of you, of a brown person. I never really saw colour. And yeah, I was in fights with people my age, but I never told my mum and dad. I just got on with it. The place where we were staying, that was going to get demolished, so my dad had to sort of find another place. This was going to be a 2-bedroom in Govan Hill, and that was way back in 1973. And it was nice. It looked cleaner, more than Gorbals, but I felt that there was a lot of people that are racist. I would say 75% of them were racist. I'll tell you why, because I didn't go out to play, because I had to help my mum out, whatever she had to do. But my brothers, they had to put up with a lot of racism. When they were going out to play in the garden, the woman next door, she would be chatting at her window, get out of here, you're not allowed to play in there, that kind of thing. and calling names. But it's one of those things. It's they had to put up with that, you know. My younger brother, he learnt how to fight, and he was in a lot of fights. And he had a reputation that nobody can beat him. So for him to survive, this is he telling me now after like so many years, we didn't have enough time to talk about how we were getting treated because we were too busy working. After high school, like secondary school finished, I didn't know what I was going to do. I actually had no idea. I just decided to go to college and do whatever course. I done like secretarial studies, done that, passed that, and then my dad died, and then things just changed. One thing my dad was adamant because I think he knew he was ill, and he made me taught me how to drive. I didn't know that was going to be my profession later on in life. At that time, way back 1982, there weren't a lot of women driving, especially. I mean, there's probably very few. And I wasn't driving a car; I was driving a van, and it was like people get looked at, you know, she's driving a van, a wee thing like that, you know. So, but I helped my mum and just carried on from there. It's been hard work, even doing the driving. It's been hard work because I used to work from 9 o'clock, drop my kids off 9 to 3, pick the kids up, give them something to eat, send them to mosque, and then back out again and pick them up and go home, get them up to eat and go to bed. And you're just doing that like a robot, and that was tough. And part of me thinks that I shouldn't have done that, you know. But it's just you get stuck, and even helping other women out, I felt like I had to be a counsellor. I wasn't ready for that, you know, dealing with their problems, dealing with husband saying that when's my wife going to pass, you know, she's had X amount of lessons, she should be ready. But that's another topic in itself. You don't feel comfortable. So, and I thought, and just with women, or I could join a gym, but then it's getting time. You're talking about if you go to the gym for an hour, you need at least two hours in total. So that wasn't really practical. Then you've got your housework and you've got your family commitments, you know, your kid commitments. It's a juggling act, and I felt that I'm burning out here now. So I asked Raza that can there be any fitness classes just on the weekend, so that I'll help out wherever I can. And he said, yeah, I'll see if I can look into that, you know, because I've been to the gym, but I find it quite intimidating. So the classes started, they got some funding. The funding's sort of running out, and the instructor, obviously, they got to pay her. But I thought, right, let me do my research and I'll see if I can do something. It was doing exercise to music. That's the course that I done. And I felt, okay, this is hard work, but it's fun. It's so different from doing my sitting job. With the fitness classes, that's you get letting your hair down, you know. It was just women, take your scarf off, you know, relax, you know. You can just chill and just, you know, it was a good way for women to get together, spend an hour and a bit, and just talking about what their experience is, how they find exercise, what kind of problems they have. Because doing that course has helped me to understand about muscles and bones, and I find that it took me years to get a good balance of work, you know, family. Obviously, I'm not perfect, you know. Go with your gut instincts. I would say that, you know, see if you go with your gut instincts, rather about driving, your careers, get people's advice who are able to give you good advice and take it. And sometimes you do learn by your mistakes as well.